Let's go to your 215-pound championship matches. Class A, it'll be Joel Kelpe of Millard North meeting Michael Seidl of Lincoln Pius X. In Class B, Cameron Browne of Plattsmouth meets Mitch Zook of Cozad. In Class C, Jake Smith of Bennington versus Conor Harper of Arlington. And in Class D, Bronson Soucie of Cambridge faces Scott Beyer of Howells. In Class D, we will be watching closely as a chance for Howells to try to steal away the state title from Amherst. In Class D, Scott Beyer is unbeaten as a senior. Bronson Soucie, 36-2 senior, has 2 pins and a 3-2 victory for Cambridge.
However,
and Beyer immediately gets a takedown.
144 to 139. He needs at least a major decision, a win by 8 points or more just to tie him, a technical fall or a pin, and Howells would win the outright title.
Right now, though, a nice escape right back by Soucie makes it 2-1. Checking out your other matches a little bit in Class A, again, it's Michael Seidl of Lincoln Pius coming in at 28-7. Joe Kelpe of Millard North was a state runner-up a year ago trying to get a state title.
Wow, and we got a shocker already in Class B. Mitch Zook, a huge underdog against Cameron Browne, and he's out to a 4-1 lead in Class B.
Browne was your state runner-up last year at 215. Zook coming in at 26-3. And again with that lead, meanwhile, no score in Class C. Jake Smith, unbeaten senior from Bennington, ranked #1, facing Conor Harper of Arlington, a 35-4 junior who had to win in overtime in the semifinals to get here. So Smith trying to be one of the unbeaten wrestlers in this year's state tournament. No score.
Now Cameron Browne just tied it back up with an escape, and he's going to take the lead, getting back points. I don't know how he fell behind so fast, but it's a pin. Obviously, he got fired up, and he's fired up now as he wins his first state title. After a runner-up finish last year, he joins his brother Brandon as a state champion.
So Cameron Browne in the first period gets a pin, and he's your state champion in Class B. Meanwhile, Class D, it is a 4-2 lead for Scott Beyer of Howells over Bronson Soucie of Cambridge.
Again, that's the one to watch for the team race in Class D. Beyer would need at least a major decision to tie, a technical fall or a pin for Howells to win the title. If he just wins this match, they come up 1 point short.
And Beyer is close to the takedown, has not gotten it yet. And Soucie battling, but there's 2 points for Beyer now, leading it 6-2.
Class C still tied at 0 between Jake Smith of Bennington and Conor Harper of Arlington.
We're going to be scoreless in Class A going to the second period between Kelpe and Seidl. No score yet in that Class A title match at 215 pounds.
Jake Smith gets a takedown on the edge. He's had a short road to the finals here with 3 pins. He's a University of Tennessee Chattanooga recruit. Tennessee Chattanooga now coached by Joe Say, former national championship coach from Oklahoma State. Before that, he was at Cal State Bakersfield. Apparently they like what they saw in Jake Smith, and they're going to bring him down there next year. Well,
he's unbeaten senior, as you mentioned, 3 pins to get here. In fact, pinning the #2 ranked wrestler in the semifinals. Meanwhile, it's 6-2 yet for Scott Beyer of Howells, leading at minute 40 to go, second period.
There's an escape in the second period by Michael Seidl of Lincoln Pius to take a 1-0 lead over Joel Kelpe of Millard North. Kelpe, a 4-time qualifier, was a runner-up last year. Played on 2 state championship football teams. Michael Seidl, also an all-state linebacker. We get up in these upper weights. A lot of these guys are very successful football players as well.
We are in the second period in Class C, a 4-0 lead for Jake Smith of Bennington. Meanwhile, in Class A, we have a minute to go in the second period with a 1-0 lead for Michael Seidl of Pius against Joel Kelpe of Millard North.
And Seidl in close to getting a takedown. Kelpe still fighting it off.
One stoppage in Class D with a 6-2 lead right now for Scott Beyer of Howells.
Now Seidl stuck underneath a little bit, trying to get out of bounds before he gives up the takedown. Scott Beyer of Howells picked to wrestle in the Dapper Dan Duel, an all-star, national all-star duel in Pennsylvania next month.
So
heading to UNO to play football and possibly wrestle there as well.
So we get set now to get action back underway in Class D. Scott Beyer of Howells will be on top. He's got the orange and black singlet. Well, they both have orange and black. But he would have the green bands on the ankles.
I suppose if Howells coach Lee Schroeder had to pick one wrestler to send out to ask to get a little bit extra out of him, it'd be Scott Beyer, his senior, undefeated, 140 career wins.
Be a four-time medalist as well. He's going to go ahead and cut Bronson Soucie loose to make it a 6-3 lead. I'm sure he's trying to look for points, possibly getting a throw, and that's what he's trying to do right now.
Soucie backing out away.
And now Beyer tries to bring him in. Soucie trying to get off the mat, and they're still battling. Meanwhile, in Class A, there goes Seidl again trying to shoot in, but a good counter by Kelpe of Millard North, who gets the takedown and takes the lead 2-1 with 1:47 to go, third period.
Now, Soucie gets aggressive here in this D match, taking a shot on Beyer. Beyer able to counter it.
Escape by Conor Harper of Arlington in Class C to make it a 4-1 lead for Jake Smith of Bennington with 53 seconds to go, second period. So that match still has a lot to go.
Those two met each other in the district finals where Jake Smith pinned Harper. Bennington and Arlington just a few miles apart. Probably see each other quite regularly. And Kelpe gets another takedown to take a 4-2 lead now in Class A.
There goes
Beyer in on a single attempt. He's got 40 seconds to go in the second period. Now he switches off to a double and gets the takedown. He's now ahead 8-3. 5-point difference. Again, he needs at least an 8-point victory for Howells to tie Amherst in the team race in Class D. Not very often we've had teams tie for a team race down here.
We're down to 19 seconds in the second period in Class C. Still a 4-1 lead for Jake Smith of Bennington against Conor Harper of Arlington. Class B was over quickly as Browne of Plattsmouth got a pin in Class B to win the state title there. That's why we're down to 3 matches at 215 pounds.
1 point apart in Class A, 4-3. Joe Kelpe of Millard North leads Michael Seidl of Lincoln Pius. There's another takedown by Jake Smith of Bennington. He now leads 6-1 in that match as the final seconds tick away in the second period.
And we'll go to the third period in Class D with an 8-3 lead for Scott Beyer of Howells.
Now the one thing
he'll take the bottom position.
Keep in mind, he's thinking about that team race, but he's also important that he wins his state title, and he can't be too aggressive or too careless and get himself in trouble. And it looks like, there's a takedown by Seidl.
And now trying to get back points.
Yeah, but he's going to win 5-4. Michael Seidl of Lincoln Pius wins with a last-second takedown over Joe Kelpe of Millard North to win the Class A title at 215 pounds.
And there's yet another one of those matches went right down the very last second. We've had several of them this afternoon, and Seidl picks up there now.
A stall warning against Beyer.
And he is on the bottom. He is leading at 8-3, but there's a minute 17 to go.
He worked so hard through the first 2 periods. Looks like he doesn't have a lot left.
Meanwhile, stoppage in Class C. Jake Smith of Bennington leading at 6-1 over Conor Harper of Arlington. They have ready to go to the third period there.
And Beyer's just laying flat on his belly on the bottom. There's another stall point for Soucie.
And I think you're right, RJ. Now he has to worry about just winning the title. You no longer just think about that team score.
He's just trying to hang on. There's another one. That makes it 8-5. 40 seconds to go. Another stalling. The next one's a 2-pointer, which would get Soucie within 1.
So Beyer now is just trying to get the title, and Soucie really working him over. Soucie doing a great job. They're down to 22 seconds, 20 seconds. And Soucie doing everything he can. And now I think it is close. I think Beyer's going to have to be careful. They're down to 10 seconds.
There's the 2-pointer. The next one would disqualify him. 3 seconds to go. 2-1. Beyer able to hang on. and win 8-7. But with that 4-point victory, Howells is going to come up 1 point short, and Amherst is your state champions in Class D, 144 points to 143.
And there is one exhausted young man, Scott Beyer of Howells, a 2-time state champion. That shouldn't go unnoticed. His second title, but he is exhausted. Meanwhile, we are finishing up in Class C with 1:36 to go, third period. And Jake Smith of Bennington trying to go undefeated on the season. He leads at 6-1 over Conor Harper of Arlington. Jake could also become a 2-time state champion. He won last year at 189 pounds. He also finished 4th. Conor Harper will get his first state medal. He is a junior, has a chance to come back next year. And he will be in the bottom position. Jake Smith trying to wind out the time.
He leads 6-1. Down to the final minute, 215-pound weight class.
One more weight class to go. We do have your 14 champions now. Again, Millard South in Class A, Omaha Scott Catholic in Class B, Norfolk Catholic in Class C, and Amherst, your state champions in Class D. Just under 14,000 people attended the finals today here at the Quest Center.
There's a stall warning against Harper. There'll be 1 point for Jake Smith. He now leads, is it 6-1 or 7-1?
I think it's 7-1, I believe. Down to 28 seconds to go in the match.
7-1, there they go.
And so it looks like Jake Smith is going to be a 2-time champion. He's wrestled well this afternoon. In fact, he's wrestled well through the tournament. This will be the only match he has not gotten a pin in through the state tournament. He pinned his way
There's another stall point.
But he's going to win this
8-1.
Yep, and that'll be your final, your state champion, Jake Smith of Bennington. He wins it 8-1 over Conor Harper of Arlington to become a 2-time state champion for his Bennington team and finish his senior year unbeaten at 39-0. Crowd's starting to thin out a bit as a lot of people have seen their wrestlers finish their matches and head out. So let's go ahead and tell you about our results at 215 pounds in Class A. Your state champion, Michael Seidl of Lincoln Pius, wins 5-4 over Joel Kelpe of Millard North. In Class B, your state champion, Browne of Plattsmouth, gets a first period pin over Mitch Zook of Cozad. Class C, Jake Smith of Bennington becomes a 2-time state title finalist and state champion by winning 8-1 over Conor Harper of Arlington. In Class D, Scott Beyer of Howells hangs on for an 8-7 victory over Bronson Soucie of Cambridge. And Beyer, a 2-time state champion.